The Tshwane University of Technology is launching the Center for Entrepreneurship Development with a focus on rural, township and mining towns' economies. Let's expand further on this. I'm joined by Head of Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Dr. Patrick Ebewo. Dr. Ebewo, very good afternoon. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Exciting developments in the launch of the Center. Talk to us about that.
Thank you so much for having me today, and a good afternoon to all your viewers. At Tshwane University of Technology, we pride ourselves on being the people university that seeks to make knowledge to work. And for this reason, we seek to create our graduates to be ready for the future of work. And one of the cornerstone of this is entrepreneurship. Thus, the university established 4 years ago a Center for Entrepreneurship Development that seeks to strengthen this entrepreneurial focus. However, not only for our students, but also for the community that we serve in. And this we do in partnership with industry partners, especially those that seek to implement various entrepreneurial education programs and enterprise development support. If I may add, the center accelerate development of entrepreneurial ventures by providing an array of business development support, both for students, graduates. We provide support for early entrepreneurs, startups, and cooperatives alike.
Well, we can't really talk about entrepreneurship development and not talk certainly about youth unemployment and local economies, if you will. What sort of impact are you expecting to have on these categories?
Already we are seeing impact. Currently, we have been able to provide support to about 650 SMEs across the board. We've provided entrepreneurial support and training for about 370 youth in Gauteng alone. We're providing support for about 500 students to become entrepreneurs. We believe with such numbers and having the fact that each entrepreneur in this country on an average employs about 3 people, definitely would have a dent. In terms of our target, we're looking at creating and supporting at least 10,000 SMEs by 2030.
Now, something that caught my attention when I was looking at the work that you've done is certainly that around the 120 smallholder farmers that you've trained and the entrepreneurial training for 370 youth. I'd like to imagine that these youth were not part of the university, but youth in the community. Talk to us about the interventions in both those areas.
Well, if I pick on the training of our smallholder farmers, it was an intervention which was supported by the Gauteng Department of Agriculture and Rural Development in a bid to ensure that these smallholder farmers are commercialized. So in late 2020, when we are still having lockdown, we were able to provide extensive support when we went through a series of capacity development programs from marketing, how they can manage their finances, and to providing business coaches for them. And I must say, even after the program that have been implemented, we are still able to provide access to markets for some of these farmers, particularly those that are producers of maize. And you're definitely correct in terms of the youth. They are not part of the university, but these are part of our community that we serve in. An example is we had a partnership with the Ebewo Aluminium Company to train about 24 of these youth in Soshanguve. I must say all 24 have started their business and successfully running their business. The rest of those numbers were in partnership with the Gauteng Department of Economic Development in providing an array of technical training from welding, carpentry, but definitely we infused it with entrepreneurship development to ensure that they are able to start up meaningful careers for themselves.
Well, COP27 starts off today in Egypt, and the conversations obviously are going to be around renewable energy. Now, earlier I had somebody from who was speaking on the said issue, and we talked about the investment, or certainly the layout of 1.5 trillion rand towards moving from where we are currently to where we are focusing on renewable energy. Now, I'd like to think that this offers opportunities for entrepreneurship and development in that regard. And I know that's something that you're passionate about. What is your focus on this opportunity that exists, certainly for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity to express that. Definitely one of our focus areas is renewable energy. We have a few of our entrepreneurs, for now not in good numbers that we could want, but a few of our entrepreneurs that have actually focused on developing new ventures, value propositions to take advantage of some of these fundings that are coming to the country, and also advantage of the opportunity that this provides. So an example is trying to come up with a mobile system for bio gas production for farmers, particularly those that are producing within the piggery space. You could imagine the kind of waste that some of these farmers are producing, and the question is, how can they generate their own energy? And key issue here is to generate their own energy. They can then downscale both issues of carbon emission and also issues pertaining to their costing. But the other one is the question of, in this country, we're still battling to be able to take full advantage of opportunity that renewable energy space brought up. Particular interest of mine is regarding biodiesel, synthetic diesel production. We're still battling. Meanwhile, we have the resource that we could actually look at this space and to produce some of these renewable energies that the country really reserved. But definitely, the funding that we are receiving will go a long way in assisting in that.
I suppose my final question has got to be, how do you get young people or entrepreneurs in general to move from a consumptive mentality to one of production, if you will? So not be the typical trader, where you get one product from a supplier and you pass it on to the next without any actual beneficiation. I think the process is, how do we control the means of production? Is that something that you will spearhead in within your entrepreneurship development?
Definitely, that's the cornerstone of all of our programs. It's about the mindset. So we are big on mindset development. All our programs start with the entrepreneurial mindset shift. Yes, sometimes it takes a while, but we ensure that we are setting programmings where we develop the mindset of these entrepreneurs, and I must add up there. Sometimes we might think that it's about access to finance or access to the market, but it's the entrepreneurs ready for the opportunity that is being presented. So our entire program is centered on mindset development, coupled with other technical skills that these entrepreneurs require. And it's an easy question. And from where we are seated as a center is a question of, is corporate South Africa ready to provide the necessary support for the likes of the center at TUT to provide the support for the youth? The youth are ready, but where are the resources? So the center, we are here to facilitate some of this access to some of these resources to ensure the sustainability of some of these young people that might want to get into the space.
Dr. Patrick Ebewo, I appreciate your time this afternoon, and he's head of Center of Entrepreneurship Development at TUT.